I want to welcome everybody here today. I'm so excited about this program for 2022 on new roses. What an exciting topic. And I know it's going to be a wonderful program. I'm John Corcoran, your executive director. And now I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Kim Merritt to explain how the webinar is going to go. Kim?
Thank you, John. Welcome, everyone. We have a wonderful presentation on new roses for 2022 by Ms. Carol Shockley and Mr. Andrew Gowboy. Once the presentation is complete, we will go into a 30-minute Q&A session. At that time, if you have a question, you will click on the hand icon that is on the right side of your screen in that control panel. Once your name is called, please make sure you unmute your phone to ask your question. So now we'll go into introductions. Go ahead, John.
Yes. Before we get started with that, I have our president, Ms. Diane Summers, on today. And Diane?
Thank you, John, and thank you, Kim. And welcome to everybody that's on our webinar today. This has traditionally been the most popular webinar that we do every year. And so I'm really excited to have Carol and Andrew here today to share some great roses with all of us. You know, it's pretty cold where I am in Wisconsin, so of course my list is growing, and it grows all winter long, and I'm sure it'll grow after I see this wonderful program today. I also wanted to let you know that there's really more programs to come throughout the year. The American Rose Society is working diligently to have great webinar programs for you. In February, we are dedicating the month to our consulting Rosarians. And so we have wonderful programs on all topics of growing roses that are going to be happening every single Saturday in February. And be sure to register for those. You can find the registration material out on our website at rose.org. And I guess I just want to welcome you again and look forward to your feedback, and I hope you enjoy the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane. Today we have two presenters, very exciting presenters that are going to put on a wonderful program. The first is Ms. Carol Shockley. Carol of Conway, Arkansas has grown and exhibited roses for over 35 years. She is the president of the Central Arkansas Rose Society and is active in both district and national levels of the American Rose Society. Carol is a Master Rosarian, a recipient of the Bronze Medal, the Silver Honor Medal, Tenarky District, and recipient of the Outstanding CR Award from the Tenarky and South-Central Districts. She grows around 300 roses, and I'm sure she wants quite a few more. We also have Andrew Gowboy. Andrew has earned his degree in environmental design through the University of Minnesota and went to work for several landscape installation companies. By 2010, he established his own gardening business, working with homeowners designing and maintaining their gardens. In 2015, he began working with the Minneapolis Park Board as a professional gardener at Lyndale Park. In 2017, he started managing the Minneapolis Rose Garden at Lyndale Park. And in 2021, he began working as the horticulture crew leader at the Minneapolis Park Board. He holds memberships with the Twin Cities Rose Club, Minnesota Rose Society, and the American Rose Society, where he has met many rose growers who are happy to share their rose growing knowledge and insights. Andrew enjoys traveling and has visited many of the public gardens in the Midwest and other parts of the country. He toured the National Rose Garden in Portland and both Los Angeles and San Diego, where he visited several local public rose gardens and the gardens at the Huntington Library. Thank you all both for being here to agree to present these wonderful programs, and we will start with Ms. Carol Shockley. Go, Carol.
Hello, everyone. On these cold days, yes, we need some pretty pictures and to dream about the gardens that we're going to be making this next year. We'll delve into the large roses, hybrid teas, Floribunda, grandiflora. Not many climbers this year. I failed to get a good picture of Golden Opportunity, but that may be a climber that you want to to put on your wish list. And here we have the rose of last year and this year by Mr. Chris Greenwood of California. This beauty is, and it's just not my opinion, it's many opinions, is one of the best ever hybrid teas. It's for gardens and shows, and it's won 23 queens, 5 kings, 13 princes. That is quite the record, and it's going to have more in its future. It is widely available, and that's very good news. And now we have Clovey. It's not as widely available, but it is a lovely, lovely rose. It's a soft peachy salmon and has good size. As you can tell from these blooms, this is not just a close-up that's deceptive. It is a large rose, good exhibition potential, and it is just beautiful. Mine has grown well. One, I usually say bit the dust with a cruel winter, but it has done well since then. It is from K&M and Wisconsin Roses. Liz's Charm by Mr. Steve Rosell. This beauty has been slow to catch on, but it is getting rave reviews for being a wonderful exhibition rose. It is a tall plant, grows slim and trim. The blooms hold, and the bicolor that you're seeing on the is very accurate. It is named for Liz Sturdivant of K&M, and it is available from K&M and Wisconsin Roses. I think you will like Liz's Charm. Vibrant Vonnie. This is a cute name, but this rose is anything but just cute. It is beautiful. It is huge. Big blooms, big buds, grows well. It's just a wow kind of rose. With the color blending, I think you're going to like it a lot. Also available from K&M in Wisconsin. Let me try to back up here just a second. I think there it is. This is American Made. American Made is quite a pretty rose. It is full of blooms and has just a lovely spread of the petals when it opens. Exhibition potential is there. It is available from K&M and also by Steve Rosell. Hot Prince. Hot Prince is one of my favorite roses. It's by Mr. Dr. Don Johnson of Tulsa, and is just a beautiful blending of pink and red. And those burnt edges are not by accident. It's in their DNA. They are so pretty. And I can't imagine a rose garden without a Hot Prince now. Does it have exhibition potential? I think it does. Only time will tell, but it certainly is a beautiful rose. Pretty sprays too. White Princess. White Princess is by the same parents, Gemini and Vet's Honor, as Hot Prince. So we have the red Hot Prince and the white Hot Princess. Good names for these roses. I have not grown White Princess, but I intend to give it a try. Ruby's Daughters. Ray Gillaboo sent me this picture, and I thought it's almost like a red touch of class with just that little bit of finesse of the petals and all, and really has lovely form. It is an exhibition rose. I'm not too sure that it may not stay a hybrid tea. Ray says if the size does not get consistently better, he may try for Grandiflora or Floribunda for this rose, but it will be available from K&M and Cool Roses. I think it's one to get and one to exhibit. Robert Bruce. Good light yellow. It holds its good centers. It needs a little bit more size in my opinion. The vigor can get there, and it is a queen winner in 2019. It is available from Wisconsin Roses. Pilgrim Maid. Pilgrim Maid, I used this rose last year. I think it is not well known, but this coloration just gets me every time I see this picture. And of course, as I walk the roses in the summer, it always has just that little pink kiss. When it's very hot, you'll see less pink, and that's a little unusual for a white and pink, but very nice. It is out of the UK, and the parents are Suffolk and Cajun Sunrise. You can't beat those parents. Wisconsin Roses has had Pilgrim Maid. Sherry is from Fred Wright. I love the orange and yellow. Look in that center and you will see quite the good center. We're not really sure about the petals. I have not been able to purchase it yet and give it a try, but I certainly will. Fred says it's a showy rose. I don't know if it's a showy rose because it shows well, or if it's a showy rose because it's yellow and orange in the garden. And I think we can see that there's some Gemini in the background. Sweet Spirit. Sweet Spirit gets to be a very big rose in the southern states. It is a grandiflora and quite the winner. It's Mian's International Sweet Spirit, has won the most outstanding rose at the American Rose Society trials, and it was simply stunning when the judges were taking a look. So congratulations to Sweet Spirit. It is very, very fragrant. High Wire Flyer is winner of the ARS trials for climbers. It is from Will Radler, and of course that means it is very disease resistant. And it must also mean that it is floriferous. It covers itself in blooms. Really, really a beauty. Sweet Mademoiselle from Mian. It is the winner of the Best Hybrid Tea at the International Rose Trials. It was a favorite of mine. Of course, we all pick favorites while we're judging, and I love the color. Hybrid Tea. Floribundas. There aren't a lot of hybrid tea coming on the market, and I think that's sad. And so many of the hybrid teas look more like floribundas and shrubs, and I think we're going to enjoy all of the new floribundas that we're seeing. This is one of my favorites, Moonlight in Paris, Floribunda by Del Bard, just gorgeous. It is a favorite. The apricot blend with gold center, as Bob Martin said, is a superb rose. And now we have Shannon Lanaya. And if I'm slaughtering that last name, it's my southern accent. It's by Chris Greenwood, and it's yellow and peach and orange. And as Fred said, Chris's rose is going to be an eye catcher also. It is a beauty. It changes in the seasons, the color just a bit. And Ring of Fire is a parent, so that should tell us lots. It is beautiful. I don't know if it is available as yet, but as soon as it is, I'll be buying it. The Iron Throne is a Floribunda, and also by Greenwood. It is more a novelty rose from my understanding. It's similar to Coco Loco and more gray than mauve. Availability is unknown on this one also. Spring's a poppin'. I like that name. From the time that I saw it, I thought, am I misspelling it? And finally, I figured out, no, it's just telling the truth. This little yellow in the garden will be wonderful. It is a Springs A-Poppin', also by Chris. It's a bright yellow bloom machine and will be one to get. And I understand that the availability will be announced later. Bob Martin, former president of the American Rose Society, was also quite the backyard hybridizer. These are two of his favorites. Jerry Mathers, named for Leave It to Beaver Star, is a sport of Chihuly and quite a eye catcher with its yellow and orange. And then we have Escondido Sunset, another Floribunda that is always in bloom, bright yellow and peach and orange, and really a pretty garden rose. Thank you, Bob. Cathedral Bells. Cathedral Bells is also a Delbard rose. It has clusters of bubblegum pink buds, and it grows to 3 or 4 feet, quite the mannerly Floribunda. It has a strong old garden rose fragrance of anise and lavender. I think it has the whole package of being disease-free, a gorgeous rose, and it smells good. Patriot Dream by the very personable Ping Lim. I've just become acquainted with some of his rose lately, and this one caught my eye. It is a deep salmon Floribunda that Ping calls an ever bloomer. And I think that's what all of us want in our roses. We want ever bloomers. It has 35 petals, is high centers, and grows to 3 foot tall and 3 foot wide. And it's available from Roses by Ping. But when I check the website, it may be sold out, so we may have to wait another year. But check the website. It's new to me, Roses by Ping. Fiesta Veranda. I became acquainted with the Veranda series when a friend gave me a white veranda. And I was a little so-so with it for a while. I planted it, and then I was wowed by the sheer abundance of beautiful little blooms. Not so much on the form side, but it blooms its little head off. It's quite a good rose to have, and the whole Veranda series is going to be something that you will want. Very disease resistant. The blooms are cupcake sized, which is a little bigger than some of the other Veranda roses. It has little fragrance, but as I said, is disease resistant. It is a Star Roses, the company Star. Here we have Cordis, Roses of Oh Happy Day. That's a new one to me also. It is a grandiflora, beautiful cream and yellow with apricot shading and pink reverse, 50 petals in clusters. And it's going to be pretty widely available. Roses Unlimited, High Country, JP and Edmonds. So you should be able to buy this beauty. Summer Romance is available from Chambly's and Heirloom and Roses Unlimited. It's a medium pink with a fruity fragrance, black spot resistant, but powdery mildew susceptible. So some people may want to beware, but others need to line up and buy themselves a Summer Romance. South Africa. The gold roses have never been my thing. I like the softer palette, but I bought a South Africa and decided that it was getting rave reviews and my garden at least needed a bright spot. So I planted it and fell in love. I now have 3 of the bushes, and I think if there's a vacant spot, there's always room for a South Africa in my place. It is from the Sunbelt collection, large blooms. They're bright yellow to old gold, and as the season changes, so does the color. It is really a spectacular rose, and it's widely available. 2022 Austins are Silas Marner and the Country Parson. The pink one, Silas Marner, has quite a nice fragrance and lovely form. The yellow, less fragrance, but is really a nice garden rose. Code Red. Code Red is just a beautiful, beautiful little Floribunda, and it's by Dave Bang. We'll have several Dave Bang roses, both Floribunda and Miniflora to talk about. But this beauty looks like it's ready to strike up the band with Code Red. Good centers, disease resistant, mixed review, but most everyone says it's a keeper. I think the mixed reviews come more from the size of the bloom than anything else, but it is a beauty. All of the Bang roses are available from K&M Roses. Here's another Dave Bang Floribunda, Angel Kisses. This beauty, I can't say enough nice things about it. It grew well in my garden, and it gets to be a pretty large bush. The white and coral pink are just that kiss of pink, making it gorgeous. Really, really pretty. The centers are good. It has high hybrid tea form, and the reviews are certainly recommending Angel Kisses. Heavenly. What a neat picture Dave Bang put together for us. That half white and half pink, that'd be fun to see every now and then, but the usual blooms you're going to have are the solid pink with just maybe a little bit of a freckle of white. Really, really pretty. Touch of Heaven. No, excuse me, this is Heavenly. Heavenly has plenty of petals and is a nice, soft, soft color. Over the Edge by Tom Caruth, Jackson and Perkins. It is a Floribunda. That really pretty yellow with the pink kiss is really, really nice. I think you'll like it. It has lots of petals and has a wonderful fragrance. And you all know where to buy Jackson and Perkins roses. Here we have Belinda's Blush. It is a sport of the famous Belinda's Dream that most of us grow. It was found by Mike Shoup of Antique Rose Emporium. It will be available from Antique Rose. It is thornless. It is a sport and 45 petals with a nice peach color. If you love a pretty garden rose, I think you'll like Belinda's Blush. Small roses with big attitudes. That's what I like. I grow some of the tinies, but the big ones are the ones that really catch my eye. And this is Jeannie LaJoy in the background, a beautiful old miniature climber that just blooms its little heart out all summer long. Kendall Marie, Pollyantha. We don't have a lot of polyanthas coming online. Diane Summers, our president of ARS, alerted me to this little beauty, and I'll be trying to buy it. It is, I'm going to mispronounce this name. We'll just call him John. And John named this little rose for his granddaughter. It's medium pink and blooms in flushes and is available from Heirloom Roses. Really pretty, should grow very well in a pot or in your landscape. Thank you, Diane. It's So Yummy. It's so yummy in lemon and yellow with pink stripes. It's disease resistant. And why shouldn't we have one of these little beauties in our garden? Here we have Magical Moment. It's a dark red, coral red, and pink stripes. Good repeat. It's thornless and makes a large bush. I have a friend that called last night. She was reviewing the slides and she said, okay, I think I have to have one of these. It is very disease resistant. And here's the drum roll. It's thornless. How about that? A Night of Magic is a Miniflora climber by Dave Bang again. And I grew this one, planted it probably in late April. And by July and August, I had some 6-foot canes coming out. And it was really exciting to watch the blooms. There's never a bloom that is just like its predecessor. Bob Martin, beautiful rose. Bob was particular when selecting a namesake, and he picked a good one. It's larger than Thai and has small, perfect blooms. It does very well with beautiful sprays also. Something for you to win with at shows. K&M roses. Let's talk about Abby Leonard. Abby Leonard is a good red blend with exhibition potential. I love the blending that you get on this rose. Really pretty. Thank you, Ray. Kiss Me Baby. Kiss Me Baby is a miniature. It is deep pink exhibition form, and the parents are Fair Hope and Mr. Leonard. If you don't grow Mr. Leonard, I know everyone's familiar with Fair Hope likely, but Mr. Leonard is from Mr. Whitwell's out of Brighton, Tennessee. No longer with us, but he left us some beautiful roses, and Mr. Leonard is truly a really nice little mini that you'll want to try. Kiss Me Baby. K&M roses again. Southern Girl is a miniature from Ray Gillaboo, and it's already won a queen, and it's out of Fair Hope and Tammy Clemens, and those are pretty outstanding parents themselves. It's available from K&M. It's a light orange pink and grows tall. It's another tall, slender rose, grows about 3 to 4 feet in my yard, and it has this beautiful pink. Queen Elise is a sport of Hello Gorgeous by Chris Greenwood. It has the form of Hello Gorgeous and just is a beautiful little yellow. Bob Martin discovered the sport and named it for his granddaughter. RBG. This one knocks me out every time I see the pictures. It is exhibition Miniflora, named to honor Ruth Bader Ginsburg for her service. It's gorgeous yellow bin with touch of pink, black spot resistant, and swing time is apparent. We'll see a picture of swing time in just a minute, but I think you can tell this is truly an outstanding exhibition rose. It is from Wisconsin Roses by Steve Singer. Ruthie's Rose. We had this slide last year, but I had to put it in again because there's always stories when the hybridizers consider naming a rose. The stories that are attached to this rose are always interesting to me. And Steve, the family of Miss Ruthie Rontkowski, family bought the naming honors and named it for her on her 95th birthday. She's a member of the Milwaukee Rose Society. And the update is Ruthie's Rose won a blue ribbon at the ARS National 2021. That's not a small feat. So congratulations to Ruthie's Rose. And here's the picture of Swing Time that I promised you. It is a beautiful exhibition rose. It's been available for a few years from Wisconsin Roses. It is an outstanding exhibition rose and one of the best that we are able to buy at this time. Really, really beautiful. This color is just about perfect as to what you will have in your garden. Vernon Rickard, the late Vernon Rickard's rose. It is Fred Wright's is the hybridizer, and he named it for his friend, the late Vernon Rickard. It's a Miniflora. As you can tell, there looks to be two roses in this slide, but that's not true. It's the same rose, one in the spring and one in the fall. And I thank Joanna Deck for this picture because it truly shows you how much variation you get with some roses. So judges beware. If you judge in the spring, it's light. If you judge in the fall, it could be a darker pink. Vernon's Laugh. Vernon's Laugh is by Vernon Rickard. It was the last rose that he hybridized. Really a beautiful rose exhibition. It grew well for me last year, and I think it would be one that you would enjoy. K&M Roses. Game Changer. I knew nothing about Game Changer other than the fact that Fred Wright hybridized it, and all of his roses I've enjoyed. Game Changer is a medium pink with some variation in color. It's a beautiful exhibition Miniflora with great repeat and maybe as good as Singer's Swing Time. We'll see about that. We may have to have a Game Changer and Swing Time contest here. It is similar in color. It's from K&M. I was so afraid. I had planted it in a 7-gallon pot last year to really get some bush under it. And I was so afraid that we'd have another brutal winter that I drug it into the greenhouse, and I've enjoyed quite a few blooms. So this might not be something I will refrain from doing, even though it kills my back. Here we have Trinket. Trinket has shades of mauve and pink. Its exhibition likes heat and similar color. It's to Game Changer. It has a little bit more of blending with white. It is a winter and it likes the heat. Garden Queen. It is quite the rose, good size for a Miniflora. It darkens in the sun. It's a large bloom, beautiful form and exhibition, as you can tell. This rose, this color is not what you should expect in the sun at all. This one started blooming outside and then was put in the greenhouse. So it's quite a bit darker than that in the sun. So don't be disappointed if you don't get a white rose. Powder Keg. Powder Keg from Dave Bang. We're going to go through a series of Dave's roses now. Powder Keg has classic hybrid tea form. It is darkens if you get it into the shade, you will have your best purple color. It is thornless, and in the sun, it's dark red with darker red stripes. So this could be quite an interesting rose. So I think you need to buy two and put one in the shade and one in the sun to really know what it's going to be. But this is really a beautiful rose, quite unique. Swizzle. Swizzle is a butter yellow and pink. It's thornless, spiral centers. It's vigorous, good form, and should show. We're also hearing that it may have the potential to be a climber, so be careful where you plant it. And here we have Dottie. Dottie was named for Dave's mother. It is a dark purple, almost black in the shade. Its parent is, one of the parents is Black Magic. It is red in cooler temps and is just, what can you say other than beautifully unique? And remember, these are from K&M. Now Mango Blush. Mango Blush is a Miniflora. It's light orange and coral, spiral centers. It grew very well for me. It was a little stingy the first 2 months, but it was making a really nice bush for me, and really went into bloom time in August through October. It produces a large bush. This is Unfailing Love. Scarlet red with coral stripes, about 2.5-inch blooms, have spiral centers. It is powdery mildew free and rust resistant. I don't know about black spot resistant. We may have to try it. Summer Splash. Summer Splash has soft yellow with peach stripes, and it's hard to distinguish between Swirly Pop and Summer Splash. So another one that will dazzle you and all of your garden visitors because it is bright. Strawberry Kisses. If there was a rose that everyone was trying to buy last year, it's Strawberry Kisses. It caught everyone's eyes. Every rose is different. Some are almost white with just little tiny red stripes. Some are almost red, totally red with white stripes. You could never tell what you were going to get. It can have high centers. It's vigorous, and it is always in bloom. Very nice grower. This is Dave's Captivating. It's a prolific bloomer. It is thornless. Isn't it amazing how many thornless we've had? Good disease resistance, vigorous, and just be patient. It's going to get there. It's one of those that sits and decides how big it's going to be, and then it'll start blooming. Hawaiian Sunset. It's a yellow with coral red edge, pinpoint centers for a nice spiral, and good repeat bloom. Really, really pretty. Eyes of Fire. If you like red hot, yellow blazing roses, you will love Eyes of Fire. In the sun, it blooms more red, glossy foliage, disease resistant, and 3-inch blooms. Really pretty. And now let's switch. We've seen Dave's roses, and now this is a rose out of the UK, Tony Bracegirdle, hybridized toots. It has been available from Wisconsin Roses, a 2-tone pink with excellent centers and exhibition. The size is very nice for the bloom. It's not a huge Miniflora, just big enough. Opens beautifully, as you can tell. Sweet Tweet. I think it gets the prize for cutest name. It's a Miniflora. It's by Dennis Consmo. And really the orange blended with yellow or soft ivory is really pretty. It blooms singly, and it's out of Tommy Cairns and Love Song. You never can tell what genetics are going to bring you in these roses. You have a pink Tommy Cairns, a little bit of mauve, and then you have the mauve Love Song, and you end up with an orange rose. It was available from Wisconsin Roses. We'll hope that it's available again. Seedlings. Let's look at the roses for the future, just a few of them. These seedlings are of Jim's, may not exist anymore because when he does his culling, he's looking for vigor, he's looking for disease-free roses, he wants them to be unique, and he wants them to bloom a lot. And we applaud that effort. The Jim Spruill's seedlings are always amazing. Here we have Jim's Holthemia seedlings. If you'll look at the color in the center, that is the mark of a Holthemia. They are very disease resistant, and these were all just unique enough that I wanted to share with you. Some more of Jim Spruill's seedlings. These are miniatures and minifloras, and yes, they look to be winners. But remember, they're seedlings. They're not available to us. And if they don't reach Jim's criteria, they won't exist. And now we have some of Dave Bang's seedlings. This is Going Bananas. I like that name. It's a nice cream blending into yellow in its center. That is pretty unique, really pretty. We have another Bang Purple. This one looks to be purple, cream, and ivory. Just a lovely rose with the purple stripes on the yellow. Cuddle Time. I wasn't sure Dave would have a soft, feminine pink rose, but he certainly has. This is a baby girl pink Cuddle Time. It looks to have good form, has just a touch of white every now and then, I understand. So I haven't grown this, but I would like to. It looks to have good size too. This is Ray Gilliboo's seedling, Blazing Star. It is another one that looks to have that almost a lightning effect of the white into the red. Really pretty. Ray Gilliboo's miniature seedling of Cloudy Days. You can tell the pink, and then we have a little bit of the salmon going into the center. A nice seedling. Steve Russell's seedling. This likely will never be marketed, but it will probably fit into his hybridizing plans for the future. And that's what we don't always understand. We think that if it's a pretty rose, we need to be able to buy it. But Steve also is going for disease resistant and fragrance and beauty and size. This is David Clemens Floribunda seedlings. We don't have any other seedlings or new roses from David Clemens for quite a while. I think Aristides was the last one that he hybridized. This looks to be a beauty, and it is a Floribunda, a little bit bigger than the David Clemens roses of past. So that's all that I've been able to pull together for new roses. I would like to encourage you to use Horizon Roses. The 2021 edition is available to you on Amazon, and you can either buy it online for your Kindle, or you can buy a bound full color version. And I found it very useful. It tells the stories of the new roses and tells you how much. Bob Martin poured quite a bit of energy into it, and we hope that it is continued over time. Encourage you to join the American Rose Society if you have not already done so. I thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Carol. At this time, we will go to Andrew for his presentation. And I know you're excited to see his presentation.
There we go. I think I have showing the right screen now. Hello, my name is Andrew Gowboy. I work for Minneapolis Park and Rec. A little background, Minneapolis Park and Rec manages the Lyndale Park Rose Garden. This garden has been in existence since 1908, making it, I believe, the second oldest public rose garden in the nation. And this is where a lot of the knowledge of what I'm presenting comes from today. So thank you for having me on today and giving me the opportunity to share some of these experience with growing roses with the ARS. Now I understand that we have rose growers who are watching from all around the US and may not quite understand what it's like to grow roses here in a cold climate. So for the first couple of slides, I thought it'd be best just to give an idea on what the temperatures might be and when they might be occurring, so you have a better idea what our garden calendar looks like. For example, this is Lyndale Park right now, and this one was taken in September of 2020. Then I thought it might start out just kind of like fun. Here's April 14th. This is when we're actually digging in the bare root roses that we get in. We actually had a snow event. The ground isn't frozen. March was a little bit warmer for us, but as you can see, like our weather here in Minnesota is a little unpredictable. We'll get snow every once in a while. Going on to May 7th, and I just want to go over terminology real quick especially when I'm going over roses here. Just because a rose is hardy to zone 4 doesn't mean that this rose will overwinter the same. Here's two definitions I want to go over, especially when it comes to roses: cane hardy and crown hardy. Some may be familiar with this. Others probably asking, what does that mean? And it means how the roses survive coming out of the winter. If the cane is hardy, this means that the rose is cane hardy. This means that the cane will produce growth like leaves that you see here. Let me get the pointer up. Like right here on last year's canes. And so this is like above and beyond. And this one is actually purple pavement rugosa. And so this is May 7th, but looking at crown hardy, as you can see here, last year's canes died back down to the ground. But as you can see here, we have like new growth coming from the base a little bit. I think this one is a Miracle on the Hudson, and this one is a Music Box, actually. So as you can see, both of them are hardy here, but die back down. So when I'm explaining cane hardy and crown hardy, that's what I'm talking about. And then I just want to continue on with the garden here. May 15th, you can see how everything's been cut back. A small fertilizer treatment's been done. Snow crab apples they're awesome in the background. And then June 12th rolls in. We have our good first flush of blooms that are coming in. Our one-time bloomers are looking their best. And finally, all of our hard work is paid off. And then just give a little bit of weather update here on Minnesota. Now, just note, just because we're in a zone 4 climate, that doesn't mean we will see a zone 4 winter. Zone 5 is technically negative 10 to 20 degrees. And as you can see up here, we actually have Tuesday, we'll have like 19, but still doesn't put us quite down into zone 4, but we're getting close. So I just want to keep that all in perspective. Because we're in a zone 4 climate, does that mean we can't enjoy zone 5 plants? No, the majority of our winters have been in zone 5. One of the techniques that we like to do just to kind of like cheat the gardening world or cheat our climate is put a scoop of compost right on top of the roses, so that way the crown is a little bit underground and can keep a little bit, has a little bit better winter protection. And this diagram shows it really well. You don't have to tie up the canes at all, but just a scoop. And then in the springtime, when you start seeing the growth emerge from the base, what I just recommend is just taking a water hose, and then you get your springtime application of compost right by the rose. So I just wanted to go through all that before we started getting into like the roses. So especially when I'm going back and forth, what's cane hardy and what's crown hardy. I'm going to start with Fruity Pebbles, and I kind of organized these slides by hybridizer and then some who's carrying them. And just to add a little constraint, I'm going to be mostly talking about post-2015 varieties. So Will Rattler, based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we have a lot of good roses that are coming from his program. Fruity Pebbles is a repeat bloomer, zone 4, height 6. We get 4 to 6 feet out of ours. But however, the blooms themselves, as you can see, are just absolutely gorgeous. Roughly petals, insides are yellow, and the outsides are just that dark pink. Quite delicious. Then also too, coming from the program, Will Rowlett, just 2017 high wire flyer, height 6.5. We see a little bit more on the 5 foot, but it does have a lot of vigorous growth, a lot of great blooms. And this one received an Arts Award. And what do I mean by that? It's American Rose Trials for Sustainability, meaning that these roses have been tested in several places in our climate zone. Everyone can look to the website to see what roses has done well in their climate zone. When I'm talking about regional award, during this presentation, I'm mostly going to be talking about the northern climate in my area. So just a little FYI. Going back to high wire flyer, dark green, disease-resistant, semi-glossy foliage, just an absolute gorgeous rose and very vigorous, but it is a little bit more in between cane hardy and crown hardy, depending on which winter or how intense the winter is. Ice Cap is another one from Will Rattler. It's an older one, but it's still a tried and true. Height is 30, so it's a good medium-sized shrub. And it's a Arts winner again, and a Master Rose, meaning that's one in several different spots around the country. So Zone 4, beautiful white petals with a nice yellow inside. Quarrel Knockout, introduced in 2018. It's been on the market for just a couple of years, but still rather new. Hardy here, and we've had it in the Lyndale Park Rose Garden. Beautiful pinkish flowers, just with like kind of a little bit of a yellow inside flower parts. No fragrance, but it just keeps blooming all the way to frost for us. So a very good rose. Peachy Knockout, superior disease resistance. Again, a lot of the knockout series are a lot that comes from Will Rattler. Has that great disease resistance to it. Height 2 to 3. We see it a little bit on the smaller side up here, not much, but it has beautiful disease-resistant foliage, clean, and then dark on the darker side foliage on there. What's nice about this one, this is a continuous bloomer instead of a repeat bloomer, and it does, when we kept monitoring it, it does have a really nice continuous bloom. Regional winner and Master Rose. White Knockout, and I know this one's been on the market for a while. It was introduced as Whiteout in 2009, so not quite a new introduction. But however, it was reintroduced in 2018 as White Knockout. So, but it has dark green leaves that are disease resistant, glossy, a little bit yellow center flower part. And then what I like to say is when you have a darker foliage rose, it makes the lighter color rose, or when you have a darker foliage on the plant, it makes that rose pop out. And so one suggestion I have is just placing this in the middle of the garden beds, because then you can actually, because that darker foliage, whatever you put in front of it will be popped out just a little bit more. So wonderful rose. Moving on to some other ones. So Lottie's Love is a great, I have a great love of rugosas. They just have a wonderful fragrance. They're very cold tolerant. They're actually can accept salt, so they do well around our streets here in Minnesota because of all this, some salt spray. This one, Chuck Bach, he's actually, from my understanding, was a nursery inspector in Bloomington, Minnesota, and this was his hobby. And Bailey's Nursery picked it up and put in their first editions, and it's been a wonderful rose. And then I have a little note here that says it says zone 3A, but it goes, someone tested to 2B. So it's just very cold tolerant, strong fragrance. And I have to go on my soapbox for a second. I attended the Northern Green Expo, which is a convention for people in the green industry. One of the classes that I attended was plants in the winter landscape. And they went through all the lists of shrubs, evergreens, hydrangeas, everything. And the one thing that they didn't touch was roses. So I think today we have a bigger audience, and I just want to highlight like shrubs in the winterscape or roses in the winterscape. that roses can show great winter interest. And I actually ran down the street today just to take these pictures of these rose hips, and you can see these beautiful red stems. Then just go back with the rugosas, like in this fall time, they have these beautiful hips right there. So there's my little soapbox moment. Thank you so much. Fairy Frost. It's a wonderful climber. It was introduced in 2018. We've had it at the garden a little bit earlier than that as a test just to see. So these are actually pictures of it growing at Lyndale Park. Really nice 6-foot growth coming out of it. So this would be good in the back of a border. Hardy to zone 3A. We find it if we have like a really cold winter, it die back about half the size, but the majority of the time it does have any dieback. So this is what we call is more of a cane hardy rose. And then I just have a note here that says, for 22 years, Julie has been on a personal mission to develop the perfect rose for northern climates, a disease-resistant rose as pretty as hybrid tea, and is hardy enough to survive northern winters. And the result of her effort was Cherry Frost, the first cane hardy climber suitable for zone 4. And I believe Julie Ovram was actually a resident of Duluth, but and when she was developing this, so a little bit more on Minnesota breeders. I think she now resides in Wisconsin now, or Barnes, Wisconsin. Above and Beyond is a wonderful climber. It's keeping to the 2015, so this was kind of like a earlier one of David's, but I still really love it. It has a beautiful flush of spring flowers, and I think one-time flowering roses don't get enough credit. We still plant crab apples, we still plant lilacs, they are one bloom, and so why not keep planting roses that still have one bloom? And because when these one-time bloomers bloom, they have a magnificent flush of blooms that come throughout this. This is one of the pictures is taken at Will Rattler's house. As you can see, this is going up to his 2nd story already. That's how tall it grows. And here at Lyndale Park, you can see it growing along our fence line, just free. And in the springtime, it just makes a really nice fence line, or just hides our fence line, I should say. Just go on. David Slezak is a hybridizer from Minnesota. He currently resides in River Falls, where he's the head of the University of Wisconsin Horticulture Department. So another local Rosarian hybridizer to here. And to go on a couple more of his, Pretty Polly Pink. These just came out to the market not that long ago. It's a Pollyantha type shrub. It's a continuous bloomer, hardy here. The height is a nice medium type shrub, 18 to 30. Beautiful pink flowers with a yellow inside. And as you can see through the pictures, it has quite a lot of blooms. So not much in the fragrance department, but I know from experience that the bees love this just hanging around the garden. Full of other additions introduced in 2020 is Pretty Polly White, another Pollyantha-like shrubs, height 2 to 3, fragrance a little bit more moderate. I still see bees around this one. It's a great little shrub rose, and yeah, just a good addition to the Pretty Polly series. And then we have Pretty Polly Lavender wrapping up the end, and it's another Pollyantha-like shrub introduced in 2020. Continuous blooms. It actually has that many blooms on it in the landscape when I'm watching it. This one has a little bit more ruffle of petals to it, and I have 2 inches for height. I got that wrong. It's actually just 2 feet of height. It doesn't get very tall. But we have it like right next to our benches and stuff like that, and it just makes a nice little front of the border type rose at Lyndale Park. So great rose. Apple Dapple. It's again an older one, but still a really good rose. 2015 by Alan Milan. Continuous bloom, lots of blooms coming out of this one. It's hardy to zone 4 here, so that's why I wanted to make sure I put it in there. It's a height 1 to 3, and we see it a little bit more on the kind of like 1.5 type of the height here. And another reason why I put it on here, because it's tested tried and true from the that it's won the Arts Regional winner here in this cold climate. A little bit of a repeat slide here, but I had to put it in because this is just my experience with it. Sweet Spirit has just been a wonderful grandiflora. I think it's more of a grandiflora than it is a shrub, or if it's, I don't even think it's a shrub, but it's has such good growth habit that it is just such a good garden rose. Introduced in 2019 by Alan Mion. It's a repeat blooming. It's a zone 5, so but it doesn't look like it requires too much overwintering on our part to make it through. Height 3 to 4, and I like to say that's true. It's on the it's not tall like the hybrid teas or anything like that, but man, does it have like good density and lots of blooms coming out. And the fragrance from it, strong damask and sweet fragrance, just a wonderful rose. Tinkerbell is another one that we have I snuck in just because it's been a wonderful growing for us, or it's been a wonderful rose for us. It's a hybrid tea, but again, it has kind of like a shorter, here in Minnesota anyway, it has kind of a shorter growth, and it's very nice and dense, and it just has really good form. It doesn't really follow the hybrid tea of long and skinny. It's actually a really nice habit. So Milan International, repeat flowering. It's a zone 5, so it requires a little bit of overwintering for us. Again, height 3 to 4, we see it a little bit more on the 3 side. Strong fragrance, wonderful blooms, disease-resistant foliage, wonderful rose again. Brickhouse Red, Floribunda shrub, introduced in 2017 by Milan again. Zone 5, height 3 to 4, mild. It's been a good one. It's on the shorter side for us, but it's been nice glossy foliage, pretty well disease resistant, and just a nice garden rose to have in there. And as you can see, like the bees like it as well. Pink Brickhouse, which is not related to Brickhouse Red, actually. So this one's actually done by James Sproul. Floribunda type shrub. We actually put this in the border just to try it. It was introduced in 2021, so kind of on the newer side. It's a continuous bloomer. Zone 5, but it's doing really well here at Lyndale Park. So I think we can revisit that zone 5 a little bit. Nice superior disease resistant foliage. So I really like this shrub, or Floribunda type shrub. Pink Freedom. I'm actually not too familiar with this. I haven't grown this, but it actually has been getting good reviews. So it's a shrub. It's introduced in 2019 by Christian Bedard. Repeat blooms, zone 4. So it fits right within our Minnesota zone coldness. Height 3, fragrance little to none, but it did actually get Arts Regional Win and an Arts Master Rose. So we know by having those awards that it shows promise here in the colder climate area. Idiom Red is another one of Christian Bedard's roses. It's a climber. It was introduced in 2008. It's a repeat bloom. It's hardy to zone 4, height 8 to 10. I think that's a little optimistic. I think gets a little bit of cane dieback, or it's more crown hardy, so it's kind of like a shaggy shrub for us, but it grows really well, and the flowers that it does produce is nice and ruffly and red, just like in the pictures. Sweet Hips, another rugosa. I just love the rugosas. Introduced in 2019 by Jay Kapek. Repeat bloom, hardy to zone 2, which shows how hardy rugosas can be. Height 4 to 6. And then the fragrance from the roses are supposed to be nice, strong clove spice fragrance. A little bit more, I did the Colorscape series a little bit, and I threw in this older one, but we tried this at the Rose Garden, and it actually grew really well for us. It's a shrub by Cord's family. It's a repeat bloomer, zone 5, but again, I think that could be reevaluated a little bit because it did grow well for us here once established. Height is about 3 to 4, little fragrance, but wonderful disease-resistant foliage. On the darker side, that accents that pink a little bit more. Wonderful rose. Milano Colorscape, another shrub. This one's an older one, but I just wanted to put it in because it kind of goes with the series. And again, we've tried it, so I think it deserves a little bit of credit. Beautiful, like cup flowers, just like what you see. Glossy foliage, darker on the side, It's a little bit of mild fruity fragrance. We see it on the shorter side, a little bit of 2 to 4, but another one that has the potential of being a good rose for up here up north. Lemon Fizz, introduced in 2017 by Cords. Repeat, zone 5 a little bit, so not as hardy. I don't have experience growing this one, but again, it looks like it has good glossy foliage off of it, very little fragrance. And then Cardinal Colorscape. This one we tried at the Lyndale Park Rose Garden, and it does grow pretty well. It's a zone 5. Again, I think it could be reevaluated, but it grows pretty well for us here. Wonderful red petals. And then Firecracker, which is one of their newer ones. It's a repeat, zone 5. We don't have in the garden, but it looks like a wonderful yellow on the inside to a peach on the outside. And then at last, and so I'm just going to go over a couple of the winners here. We don't grow this one, but this one shows great promise. Floribunda, shrub-like, 2015. Heather Horner, I think she comes out of United Kingdom, is what helped me find, because I didn't find too much information on her, but Proven Winners grows it. It's a Arch regional winner, so we know it does well here in the northern climates. Disease resistant, glossy, gleaming foliage, and quite vigorous, it says. Brenda Bella Purple Prince, another one I'm not too familiar with, but I think I would love to try it. It's a Floribunda type shrub, introduced in 2018. It's a continuous bloomer, zone 4, and the height is 3 to 4. Strong rose fragrance that are coming from these wonderful blooms that it looks like it has, and it's another arts winner. Easy on the Eyes is a shrub from 2016. Tom Caruth has put it out. It's a repeat bloomer, zone 5, height 3 to 4. We do grow this in the garden, and it has proven itself as a really nice garden rose. Lots of blooms that are coming from it, and the wonderful deep purple and the light purple with a yellow inside makes it a really good eye-catching rose in the garden. So another arts winner. Oh, and strong citrus fruity spice fragrance, which I should have actually put my nose into the flower a little bit more, but it's just I'm so captivated by how the flower looks that now I have to really go find out if it has that nice fragrance to it. The Champion Sunblush Rose, introduced into 2018 by Milan, repeat blooming, zone 5. This one also made into this program just because it won the Arts Regional winner as well. So I don't have too much experience with this, but it looks very promising. Grand Champion Red Rose, another Milan International variety, wonderful red rose, repeat bloom, zone 5 with a little winter protection may make this overwinter here in this cold climate. A little bit deeper, glossier, semi-glossy foliage, so little mild fragrance. Oh So Easy Double Pink, 2019 by Alan Milan, zone 4. So we know it actually grows quite well here. Again, an arts winner. Height is 18 to 24. So it's a really nice middle of the border type rose. So moving on to the David Austin roses. So, and their shrub-like character. So the Ancient Mariner, it's a shrub rose, 2015, height of 4. Ours doesn't get that high, but it helps to do a little bit more overwintering protection on them. But the fragrance coming from this is like a medium to a strong myrrh type scent. Beautiful cut flowers. I mean, this is what we expect out of David Austin's program of these old type garden type flowers, old rose garden flowers coming from a nice disease resistant glossy foliage. Olivia Rose Austin is a shrub rose, an older one, but it's been winning a lot of awards. Repeat, zone 4, so that's why I included it into this program. Height is 4.5 feet. The fragrance is light to a medium fruity scent. And again, beautiful cupped old garden rose flowers. Ustica Vi, I'm probably butchered that name. I apologize on that. Introduced in 2019, shrub rose. It's a repeat, zone 4, and the height is 4. And then the fragrance is strong and fruity. Gabrielle oak, a shrub, 2019. It's a repeat bloomer, height 4 feet. So, and the fragrance again is strong, fruity, beautiful, kind of like pinkish, dark, really dark pink, really full petals, flowers. Again, another signature trait of David Austin roses. Emily Bront, repeat flower. This one has strong tea, old rose garden fragrance to it. Beautiful puffy-like flowers that are coming out of it. Zone 5, so it takes a little bit more overwintering on its part. Country's Parson, I think this was a repeat one, but again, like a really nice rose of medium to strong, fruity. A little on the shorter side of 3.5, but I mean, it's still a wonderful rose to have right in the middle of your border. Vanessa Bell, fragrance out of this one is going to be a medium strong tea-like fragrance. It's a repeat bloomer, introduced in 2017. And here's another thing I just like adding onto this photo is how well David Austin roses take to growing in containers. We don't do too much containers, or we have to figure out a way of overwintering the container and the rose if we're doing a show like this. But if you just look at how that just rose sits in that container, it's gorgeous. James Austin, 2017, zone 5. It has a light medium fruity, kind of like on the puffier side of flowers, but almost like a tea rose, and that opens up to a bunch of petals. So a wonderful, wonderful looking rose, purple, pink. Clattering by gently, it's a shrub introduced in 2018, zone 5, height 4 feet. This one actually has a light to medium musk smell, and if you look at it, it has more of a simpler type flowers, but when it does flower, it actually has quite a bit of quite a few flowers on it. So just a gorgeous yellow rose, and it looks like too, has a darker leaves that actually will pop them out as well. Mill on the Floss, 2018, height 4 to 5. Nice old garden type flower onto it, pink with it looks like a little bit darker edges on the edge of the petals. Strong and fruity scent. And then I'm going to go into a little bit of true blooms because Ping Lim is a hybridizer, and we know him in Minnesota. So how we know Ping is actually he previously worked for Bailey's Nurseries out of Woodbury, creating a lot of the Easy Elegance series roses. From my understanding, he's now in California working for Altman Plants, creating the True Bloom series. But right now they're kind of made of unobtainium because I can't find them in Minnesota too much. But I'm showing these in hopes that they'll actually make it this way. And how we know that they are going to be introduced sometime, or we will eventually get the trickle down effect where we can actually get them, our supply will meet demand, is that a lot of these actually won, or all of these actually won the ARTS American Roses Trials for Sustainability. So we know that these roses will actually perform well in this colder climate. So True Bloom, True Integrity. I mean, look at that flower. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of like a smaller one. It's categorized as a Floribunda type shrub. True Bloom, True Love, nice red one. Was introduced in 2018, nice repeat bloom. Clusters of red flowers. True Passion. This one's supposed to have kind of like a nice little pepper fragrance to it, which intrigues me when they said that, but gorgeous flower. True Romance. Now this is where I'm having a little trouble finding the information on these ones, even though they've been trialed. But so we're just going to go off of pictures a little bit, just to kind of like whet our appetite on trying to find these roses, and hopefully, again, like I said, supply meets demand. I'm not sure when this was introduced or what fragrance it has, but it looks like a wonderful flower. This is the flower that they have on their website. And then Golden Dragon, which I don't have much information on, but it just looks very promising, a very nice yellow rose. And then True Grace, nice compact flower it looks like. Again, something I don't have too much information on. Hopefully Ping will release more information later, or that'll be filled in later. But just to kind of like say like these should be in the making or coming, or we should be able to see these in stores hopefully within the next couple of years. And then a couple other ones that are just a little made of unobtainium is a Canadian Shields rose. This comes from the 49th Parallel Research Division. This one came out in 2017, and then they've been having like a release of I think every single year coming up. But what's impressive to me is that these are hardy to zone 3B most of the time, or hardy to zone 3. 4 to 5, we have this one growing at Lyndale Park. It's been a wonderful disease-resistant red rose. So looking forward to that one. Chinook Sunrise, it's a nice shrub, pink flowers, yellow insides, 2019. Again, hardy to zone 3A, so we know they're very cold tolerant. Height is about 4 feet, little to no fragrance, but beautiful rose with a little bit of a darker foliage to it to make the flowers pop. And Aurora Borealis, which is their 2021 release. So again, another pink rose with yellow inside, little, not too much fragrance, but height is supposed to be 3 to 4. So, and that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you, Carol. Okay, at this time, we will go into our Q&A session. If you have a question for either Carol or Andrew, please click on the hand icon that is to the right of your screen. The Q&A session will be for 30 minutes. When your name is called, please make sure your phone is on mute, and please state who your question is for, either Carol or Andrew. So let's see here. Okay, first person is going to be Carol and Jerry Macon. Please unmute yourself, Carol and Jerry Macon. Okay, we'll come back. Denise Grabowski.
Okay, muted.
Denise, do you have a question for either Carol or Andrew?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, Vicki O'Brien.
Sorry, I guess I had my hand up. I didn't realize I did. I don't have a question. Thank you. I enjoyed the presentation. It was wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Donna Mack.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. I don't have a question. I actually have a comment. I grew the rose at last. It's unbelievable. I actually got it for a client who was struggling with roses. It at one point had 18 buds on it. It gets no disease. It blooms all season. And since he didn't have any information, I thought I'd add that. I'm buying it for myself. It's one of the best roses I've ever seen. And I've got 50 roses. So I just wanted to add that because I don't normally grow. Orange is not my color. It's exquisite. So if you were wondering whether it was good, it's not good, it's great. Thank you.
Well, thanks for that extra comment. That's awesome to know.
Donna. All right, Audrey Coble.
Hi there. Hi there, good day. I have a question. I love the David Bang roses, and I have been trying to contact them since last July and have written many, many times. Do you know if there's an issue with staffing, or am I not getting through to them for a reason? Have they said anything?
I haven't tried to contact in the last few months. I know that they Jim Mills has had illness in his family, and Liz and Jim are trying very hard to communicate, from what I understand, but I haven't tried.
And there's no, I'm sorry?
I would urge you to continue to try to email, because that is usually the way he prefers to get orders, so that he has a record and not just a telephone call.
Oh, well, that's okay. All right. Well, I'm wondering if in time David will have more suppliers. Is that possible in this industry, that more than one supplier carries someone of his stature roses?
Well, I wouldn't be able to answer that. I'm a grower just like you, and I would hope that they are readily available. I know that he and that Dave and Jim Mills have worked well together to get the crops going. They did lose a lot of roses in the storms, but I think the effort is still there. I really can't answer.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the presentation. The photos are beautiful. The descriptions are wonderful. And for us in hot San Diego area, it's nice to see heat resistant roses come our way. And we wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. Okay, the next person is going to be Mr. Bill Dorn.
Hello, everyone. Just to follow up on what the previous caller was saying about K&M, they did have a lot of extensive damage from the rains. I placed my order several months ago. I'm putting in a complete Dave Bang collection with 8 of his varieties. And the best way I did was to email them and go from there. So I know that they, are pretty short-staffed, and their popularity is increasing because right now there's very few places to get really good miniatures. So that's what I would offer to the discussion.
I think
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Okay, the next person is, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but Lakshmi.
Yes, I am here. Yes. See, I really like those miniature roses, the climbers and the Miniflora. I do not have any of Dave Banks roses in my garden. I would really love to have them. I live in San Jose, California. Hello?
Yes, go online and look at K&M's selection of roses. They do have many.
See, I live in San Jose. And is there a mail order place from where I can get Dave Banks roses?
Right. You need to email K&M Roses.
Yes, and I also, those mini climbers, they look gorgeous.
Very good.
Who email whom?
KandMRoses.com.
KandLRoses.com. Okay, I will have a look at it. I missed the first 15 minutes of the presentation. Is there anywhere you can see it?
Yes, it will be posted next week on the American Rose Society YouTube page.
Okay, thank you. Good presentation.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay, the next person is going to be Mr. Ray Shipley. Ray, your phone is muted.
Okay, now I think I'm up. I have a comment for Andrew. I visited Lyndale Garden about 3 years ago and talked to some of your employees who unfortunately weren't there that day. But you sent me some good pictures that I used for presentations on winterization. So good to see you at least in on the projector here.
Oh, good. I'm glad, and I'm glad you enjoyed your visit. Yeah, I remember contacting or exchanging emails, and I saw that presentation. I thought it was wonderfully done. So that's the trick of like, we want these beautiful roses, and what lengths do we do to overwinter them? So.
All right. Thanks again, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Susan Matthews, please state who your question is for.
Hey, I was just wondering, I've had so many comments that David Austin roses don't do well here in central Louisiana. And that's one of my favorite roses that I'd love to try. Do you have any suggestions?
I don't grow very many David Austins. I know that some are a little heat sensitive, but there are people in the Louisiana Rose Societies that seems to be doing very well with their David Austins.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I loved the presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, the next person is Barbara Carvello.
Hi, I'm Barbara Carvello. I'm in Colorado, just about 15 miles north of Denver. What we're finding out here is our climate is changing in the summertime, and it's becoming more droughty and more desert-like. We're sustaining triple-digit temperatures for long periods. The beautiful roses, Andrew, that are hardy at zone 4 and zone 3, I have no doubt they can take our winters. I'm concerned about them being able to take our summers, the heat.
Well, we had
Go
an
ahead.
interesting year this year in Lyndale Park. I think this is one of the hottest summers we've recorded on record. And actually this year we were going, which is surprisingly, because I think in 2018 or 2019, I can't remember, we actually had the rainiest season that we've ever had. And then now this year it was actually the most droughtiest season, and we had water bans on our garden and stuff like that. With these growing in our experience with growing the hybrid teas, grandifloras, floribundas, those have been kind of, they require a little bit more water. But what we're finding out is like the knockout roses, some of them, the glossy foliage kind of hints toward which ones will do well. It seems like the ones that had the glossier foliage are the ones that are a little bit more heat resistant roses to try out. But yeah, I feel you, because it seems like every year now is becoming more unpredictable. And like I said, last year, all of our grass was brown and made for horrible pictures. And yeah, so I think we're just even though we're kind of like a couple states away, I think we're feeling the same weather uncertainty between you guys and us.
So are you thinking, Andrew, then your thinking is that good mulch and more water will help them through these periods? I know knockout roses pretty much will grow anywhere.
Yeah.
My experience has been the only thing that'll kill them is gasoline, and maybe not that. But I'm thinking then that I'll go ahead and start talking about these roses at the zone 4 roses, which I've talked to people about before. I think they're wonderful roses. They do well in our cold climate. You guys did a wonderful job. Thank you for your presentation. And thank you, Andrew, for the information.
Thank you. Feel free to reach out too with any other questions.
Thank you.
Yes, to the previous person that asked about David Austin roses, we do have a garden dedicated at the Gardens of the American Rose Center to David Austin roses. I encourage you to reach out to Don Morgan, who oversees our gardens. His email is don@rose.org. That's DON@ROSE.org. I know he will be happy to get back to you on the David Austins that have done very well here at the gardens. So I just wanted to mention that since you're not too far from us in central Louisiana. And if you'd like to come visit our gardens, would love for you to come do that as well. Thank you.
Okay, the next person is Susan Smith. Or Susie Smith, I'm sorry. Susie Smith.
Yes, that's me. Yeah, I go by either. The arts roses do more than cold hardy. They also talk about the humidity level because they don't go by zone. So maybe if she looks at the art roses that are for her area, she may find roses that take the humidity and the heat and the zone kind of, because I know that's us in Illinois. We reach those triple temperatures and we have 100% humidity for like 72 hours straight. And so we have to watch for the black spot and stuff. So those arts roses that are rated for our zone, our area, I think they call it, are much better. And I also have At Last, and it is a gorgeous rose.
Thanks for that extra comment. And yeah, for some odd reason, I wasn't even thinking about, yeah, there's certain climates, there's certain zones, and just check on which ones do well. So thank you for bringing that up. Because we know these roses are the ones that actually will grow very well in our area.
I think it's a wonderful program because we've had the earth kind, but they're more for the southern climates. So I love that we came up with the arts. Thank you for a great program.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Okay, the next person is going to be Dawn Owl.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. I'm in North Carolina, Zone 7A, and I've been interested in ordering some K&M roses for clients, but they're being on the rootstock that I haven't used in the past. Could you give me an idea of what success you've had in a zone similar to ours?
I grow in 7B zone, and I can tell you that the Fortunianas love the 7B area. The bushes get very large. The canes are stronger and longer. The blooms appear to be a little bit larger on Fortuniana rootstock. Once you get through your first year, I have not had a problem with winter hardiness at all. I do mulch heavily the first year, and then I back off of the amount of mulch a tad for the next years. But I have some Fortuniana bushes that are 12 and 14 years old.
Okay, that's good to hear. Has anyone that you're familiar with grown them in any climate that's just a wee bit colder? I have one client who's probably zone 6, maybe even A in our mountains. I'd be really hesitant to try it there.
I know that southern Missouri may grow some on Fortuniana. I really don't have any experience other than zone 7. I would urge you to try them and just see what, there are some varieties that are so winter tender that you normally would not try. So I would not use those. I would not try to grow those.
Oh, of course not.
I think I think it's worth a try. Zone 6, I would be reluctant to endorse its use there.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll give them a try. Apparently, you're saying that the best way to contact them is email now?
I would email, yes.
Okay, thank you so much, and I've enjoyed the presentation.
Great, thank you.
This is Diane Summers. I just wanted to comment that I've grown a lot of the new David Bang roses this past year in my garden. I'm in zone 5, and they've just done very, very well. So yes, the interesting part now will be to see how well they do throughout our winter, you know, and it's only like 5 degrees right now. So we'll have more to tell, I think, as more and more people around the country start to grow these roses. So I think they're relatively new, and but obviously getting a lot of interest just based upon the pretty blooms. So we'll have more to say probably next year in our program.
Diane, all of the Dave Bang roses that I ordered, I ended up with 15 new ones from Dave, and they were all en route. And I think that is significant for those of you that are interested in the colder climates in some of the Dave Bang roses. I think the majority of them being sold are on their own route.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. So yeah, I'm hoping that they do well. I have obviously protected them a bit for the winter, and we'll see next spring.
I have a few of them that have not lost their leaves at all, and we've had temps as low as 14 degrees, and I found that very interesting. They're still just shiny and green.
Right.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, Frank DeVries. Frank, you'll need to unmute yourself. Okay. Let's try Don Crudup.
Hi, thanks. Just a quick question. Is the powder keg miniature rose available for sale at this time?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wish I knew, because I will be ordering one. I would say put it in your email to order and give it a try.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Elizabeth Schleicher.
Yes, hi. This message is for Andrew. Andrew, I wasn't sure, did you say that when you planted the roses in the garden that the graft was at ground level? Because when you were showing about hilling up, I'm about an hour west of Buffalo and in Canada, and we have winter today. It's cold. So I just wondered how the graft is planted in your area.
Helps if I turn my mic back. Helps if I turn my microphone back on. It all depends on the type. So like a lot of the shrub roses, we, especially with the, I know what if they're going to be kind of like more on the crown hardier side of things, I actually like to put them about 2 to 3 inches in the ground, and that just gives them like a little bit extra protection, and then we just heal them up a little bit, or heal them or put the little compost on them. A lot of the hybrid teas, grandifloras, floribundas that we grow, we do put down again like another like 3 inches, or bury the graft down 3 inches, and then once we heal them up, that puts another like 3 inches of soil on top of them. And then what we do is we put leaves, or we're experimenting with different overwintering techniques, and we're having good success with some concrete blankets that we're putting over the top. And I'm just talking about grandifloras, floribundas, hybrid teas. But if we know that if something is going to be hardy, I'm going to just say above and beyond, because that's just a really hardy like climber. We usually put the rip flare right at the proper height. So it all depends on if it's a rose that we should be growing kind of like, or, you know, if it's one that's, you know, already okay, or if it's one that's already hardy here, or if it's one that's not so hardy. If it's not so hardy, it goes down in the ground just a little bit. So.
Yeah, that's how I plant too. Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification. Great program. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, so Carol, I have a question from the chat from William Witham. He wants to know what's the full name of the first climber that you talked about?
Golden Opportunity.
Thank you very much. Next person is Glennis Hayne.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Kim, and morning, Diane. It's Glennis Hayne and Doug Hayne from Australia. This one's for Andrew. It's more of a comment. Andrew, we noticed that you grow Brindabella Pride, or I think you got it as Brindabella Purple Pride. It's an Australian bred rose, which is very unusual to be growing in America. And I'd just like to say that it's on the pointy end of being the Australian Bred Rose of the Year for 2021.
Wonderful to know, because actually that's when I was going through and I should have pointed that out. I went through it so fast that, yeah, when I was doing the research, it looks like it was my information is it first introduced into Australia in 2014 by Brindabella Country Gardens Nursery, if that's where the name comes from. So
that's
I just know
Sylvia and John Gray. They live up in Toowoomba, Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, it's wonderful to know the background knowledge of some of these roses, because like they won the awards here, but like all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's something I haven't quite seen before, and we don't grow it at Lyndale Park. So excited to see if we can get it. That's something we would like to introduce, which is why it makes
Thank you, Kim. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glennis. All right, the next person will be Gregory Reed. Gregory, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Yes, I have a question for Andrew. The question is there any recommendation for a border rose that is narrow in width up to 2 feet, but would climb up to 3 or 4 feet? And I'm in zone 10A.
Zone 10A. That one's going to be a hard recommendation for me. I'm wondering if John or Carol could actually maybe answer that a little bit better. Right now, I can't think of anything that comes to the top of my head except a miniature climber of some sort, but I'm not too familiar with miniature climbers. I got to be honest.
I think some miniature climbers might be a good idea, and they're just now being available to us. Cherry Frost has done extremely well in Zone 7, just extremely well. So I would give it a try. It may be an all-purpose rose for sure. We've had some other recommendations, not necessarily a climber, but Eustacia Vi and Gabriel Oaks are recommended for zones 10 and 11. Now, you know, that's just what we're reading. We don't have that experience, but you might also try Dave Banks climbers. I mean, he is a breeder from California, and they've done so well that I think the climbers, A Night of Magic, that I grew was so hardy in really a brutal summer. So you might try some of those roses also. A Night of Magic, Magic Moment, I think was the other name, and So Yummy.
Perhaps we could follow up with some of our consulting Rosarians in a zone 10, and then we could get back to him.
Yeah, because you said like a narrow spot, like a zone 2, or sorry, like a 2-foot section. I think this is kind of a fun opportunity to try like what do you want to call, like training a rose to do what you want too. So there's always an option as well.
Right. Right.
Thank you for your suggestions.
Thank you, Gregory. Okay. So the next, I have a question from the chat from
Kim, are you there?
Kim, did we lose you? All right. Well, I'll take over till we get back with her.
I'm sorry, can you all hear me still?
We can hear you now. Okay.
Okay, I lost the webinar for just a moment. Sorry about that. All right, so thank you, Gregory. The next person will be Leona Bodiker. Leona, unmute yourself. John, can you try to unmute her for me, please?
Got her.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Did that work?
Yes.
Unmuted. Okay, good. I just wanted to thank everyone for this presentation. It's very informative. And I wanted to make a comment too. When I was at the National Convention on the Rose Tours, Dave Bang came up to me and he said that not a single one of his roses were grown in the gardens on the Rose Tour. And I told him, give it 3 years and your roses will be in every garden. So I know K&M has had a lot of problems lately. I know they're working to overcome them. I want everybody to be patient and make me not a liar and send in those emails and buy those big Dave Bang roses. That's all.
Thank you, Leona.
It's Lenora.
Lenora, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So the next person is going to be Mark Davis. John, can you unmute Mark for me, please?
Hi, this is for Andrew. I was going to ask him about winterization, but that was asked a little while ago. But could you let us know about the timing of when you start to, put compost on top of your more tender varieties and things like that?
Yeah, we're at Lyndale Park right now. We're actually testing out multiple ways of actually overwintering roses, and it's actually kind of exciting. We actually done it in a very traditional way. The park has been overwintering roses since 1908 in a very similar method, and it is actually healing up the rose, burying the roses about 3 inches down, healing up the roses so you actually have 6 inches covering the graft, and then fencing them off and putting leaves in there. And where we have to take the leaves from is actually Lakewood Cemetery, just across the garden area, or just across from Lyndale Park. They want to get rid of their leaves. We want the leaves for overwintering, and so we put them on top. And what we do the healing up a little bit, we start in October actually, so just to kind of like spread the work out, because it doesn't matter too much. The roses aren't needing as much water. We can heal them up, and then we try to wait till the last we want some coldness in the ground before we put the leaves on. And unfortunately, sometimes we're kind of like locked to a calendar date just because of how the gardening season is and how the winter season is. So we're trying to get everything wrapped up by Thanksgiving. We could go stretch longer, or I like to actually see a frost in the ground before putting leaves on there, but sometimes that doesn't always work for that. But at my house, I wait till there's a frost in the ground just to get some coldness in the ground, so that way it's telling the roses to harden up and start overwintering. So that's a little bit, just a summary of like what we've done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so we have a question from the chat. Donna Karkin asked, I'm having trouble finding Delbard roses. Any recommendations on where I can find them? And that's for either Andrew or Carol.
I would suggest that you go online and just start surfing all of the high country heirloom roses. Just enter the name of the rose and see what pops up. I really don't have any suggestions. I know I have a few of them, and I was not buying specifically for them to be Delbard. It was just an appealing rose.
Roses Unlimited has Delbard roses.
They do indeed. Thank you. And those are en route, by the way.
And I know when we're purchasing mass orders, we've been getting them from certified roses.
Right.
So maybe it's not so much trying to buy a good quantity from certified, but seeing who they deal with in the nursery industry local to you. So,
right.
But yeah, there are great roses.
Okay, great. So we only have time for one more question, but if you do not get a chance to ask your question verbally, please post it in the chat pod, and we'll make sure that Carol and Andrew receives your questions and they can respond back to you via email. Okay, so the last person will be Nancy Laser. And Nancy, if you can unmute yourself. All right, Pat Barr. Pat, if you can unmute your phone and ask your question. Okay, we'll go ahead and go to Miss Susan Matthews. Miss Susan, do you have a question for Carol or Andrew? You guys can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Wendell Gabbard, do you have a question?
Hold on. I didn't see that person. What was that name again, Kim?
Wendell Gabbard.
Okay.
Well, it looks like his mic is off now.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we'll go Gwen Cavey.
Everyone know Edmonds Roses does have some Delbard. They have Moonlight in Paris.
I think their Moonlight in Paris is going to be much more available to us this year. So that's a good suggestion.
And thank you so much for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you from Andrew and me.
All All right, so at this time, the webinar is complete. We want to thank you all for attending today. Please check out our website, rose.org, our calendar for upcoming webinars. Also check out our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. And again, thank you and enjoy your weekend.